I'm not ashamed to own my Lord, nor to defend his cause. Maintain the honors of his word, the glory of his cross.
Hello, I'm James Brown, and on behalf of the Eastern Church of Christ located in Toronto, Canada, I'd like to welcome you to today's edition of Walking Through the Bible, a podcast where we seek to study the Bible and the Bible alone. Please stick around afterwards for information on how you can contact us. But for now, please go to the book of Matthew, and we'll turn you over to Jeremy Dieselkamp for our study of the day.
Thank you, James, and welcome to all of our viewers. This is the 15th lesson in our study of Matthew. Yesterday, we studied Matthew chapter 5, verses 1 to 4, discussing the first two Beatitudes. If you missed that episode, you can find it and all of our other podcasts on multiple platforms by going to one of the different sites listed on the bottom of the screen. Today we're going to read Matthew chapter 5 verse 1 and go through verse 12 so that we can get the context, but we're actually going to begin our discussion at verse 5. The text that you'll see on the screen is from the New King James Version, but you're welcome to follow along with any version that you have. So let's now read Matthew 5 beginning at verse 1. And seeing the multitudes, he went up on a mountain, and when he was seated, his disciples came to him. Then he opened his mouth and taught them, saying, Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the sons of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when they revile and persecute you and say all kinds of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven, for so they persecuted the prophets who were before you. In this chapter, and going all the way through the end of chapter 7, we have Jesus' Sermon on the Mount. He begins his sermon with 9 Beatitudes, meaning 9 ways that you can be exaltedly happy. We determined that Jesus wasn't talking about 9 different people here, but one person, the type of person who would follow after him. He began with, Blessed are those who are poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven, and blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. For analysis of what Jesus meant by these two Beatitudes, we refer you back to lesson 14 of this series. The third Beatitude is, Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Those who are meek are people who are gentle towards others, who quietly submit themselves to God, and who can bear being mistreated without having to return the favor. In a sense, meekness is similar to humility, although perhaps it takes humility a little farther. What is the reward of the meek? They shall inherit the earth. Now, of Jesus' Beatitudes, the reward here, inheriting the earth, can lead people to all sorts of wrong conclusions, like God giving the righteous land here on earth when Jesus comes again, something that is false, because when Jesus comes again, the earth will be burned up. It can also lead people to believe that God will make Christians rich, something that is contradicted here in this sermon in chapter 6. So if it doesn't mean those things, what does it mean? For a better understanding, let's go to what Jesus is actually alluding to here, which is found in Psalms 37, verses 9 and 11. For evildoers shall be cut off, but those who wait on the Lord, they shall inherit the earth. Skipping down to verse 11. But the meek shall inherit the earth, and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace. What does Jesus mean that the meek will inherit the earth? He is saying that the meek will enjoy the things that God blesses them with. They will not be concerned with getting more things, but be content with whatever they have and recognize that God is the one who blesses them. The fourth Beatitude is, Blessed are those who hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Some people are casual believers, not overly concerned with righteousness, for they just want to do as little as possible and still go to heaven. That's not the attitude Jesus wants. He wants a people who just have to be righteous. They want it with all their being. In 1 Peter 2, verses 1 and 2, Peter writes, Therefore, laying aside all malice, all deceit, hypocrisy, envy, and all evil speaking, as newborn babes, desire the pure milk of the word, that you may grow thereby. Followers of Jesus should hunger and thirst after righteousness. They should not even accept a little wickedness. But the only way to do this is to turn to the Word of God and determine what it says. If we do this, God says he will fill us up. Jesus said the same thing in John 4, verses 10 and 13, where we read, Jesus answered and said to her, if you knew the gift of God and who it is who says to you, give me a drink, you would have asked him, and he would have given you living water. Skipping to verses 13 and 14. Jesus answered and said to her, whoever drinks of this water will thirst again, but whoever drinks of the water that I shall give him will never thirst. But the water that I shall give him will become in him a fountain of water springing up into everlasting life. God has given us all things pertaining to life and godliness. However, we must truly desire it if by faith we're going to be saved. We'll continue on with the Beatitudes of the Lord willing tomorrow. With that, our time is up for today. Please join us, the Lord willing, tomorrow when we will continue our study of Matthew, beginning with Matthew 5, verse 7.
Thank you, Jeremy. And to our viewers, we also thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking on the subscribe button below. Should you have a question or comment, please leave it below or email it to answerintheword@gmail.com. We'll try to respond to you as quickly as we can. We hope you'll join us, Lord's willing, tomorrow when we will be continuing on our study in the book of Matthew. Goodbye for now and have a great day.
I'm not ashamed to own my Lord.